So today we're going to be checking out an interesting one. Pierre Poilievre made some remarks about the LGBTQ2S plus community. It's getting very long, guys. But anyways, Justin Trudeau is going to be slamming Pierre Poilievre for those remarks, and I don't think he appreciated what Pierre Poilievre said. Listen to him.
Pierre Poilievre specifically said that children born biologically male should be banned from female washrooms, changing rooms, sports. Do you think your government has done enough to protect trans rights?
I think Mr. Poilievre and politicians like him are choosing to attack some of the most vulnerable people in our society.
You see this thing, the way he started sounded very populist, honestly. They asked you a question, do you think you've done enough? I know he started by calling what Pierre Poilievre said, but they asked you, do you think you've done enough to protect the rights of trans children in the community? And he started by saying Pierre Poilievre and politicians like him. He got very political, that's what I'm saying. He just got very political and populist, like people would term it.
Pierre Poilievre specifically said that children born biologically male should be banned from female washrooms, changing rooms, sports. Do you think your government has done enough to protect trans rights?
I think Mr. Poilievre and politicians like him are choosing to attack some of the most vulnerable people in our society as a way of deflecting from the fact that they're very good at creating division and anger and creating political toxicity and driving wedge issues, but so far they have been terrible at putting forward any concrete solutions for the big problems that all Canadians are facing in their daily lives. They're quick with slogans and buzzwords and culture wars, but they're not doing the work of actually rolling up their sleeves and delivering. 330 housing units here, delivered next year, this summer, including over 60% of them 60% of them affordable. Billions of dollars in investment in childcare that provinces like Alberta are not delivering properly to Albertan families because of ideology.
But I read the new gender policy in Alberta. I didn't think that was a problem. I feel like that was spot on. Let me know if you disagree with me, but I think the gender policy in Alberta is solid. You know, she wasn't, critical on discriminating people in this community, but she said she gave a limitation to what age you can, do this to your body, which I think is right. She did the right thing. I mean, the premier, I think her name is Danielle Smith. But I think she did the right thing.
We're stepping up on the fight against climate change to draw in global investment. Here in Alberta, for years, I've been pointing out that Alberta is the #1 place in the country for green investments, for investments into renewables, for innovation in the future of how we're going to power our country and our world in a net zero economy. And what does the Alberta government do? Oh, it puts a pause on renewables. I was talking to the Alberta Business Council just last fall, who were up in arms about it, rightly, because what kind of signal does that send to investors? What kind of signal does that send to Albertans who know that providing energy in a net zero world will provide incredible jobs for Albertans?
But investors, you see, this net zero argument here, you can have your own perspective. But if you have to pause on, let's say, using fossil fuel today, what is the alternative today before the investors can come with their net zero investments and give the people an alternative? Like, what can you do for them today? Wouldn't it be detrimental? You can say I'm short-sighted, whatever, but it would be detrimental. People already are struggling with groceries and housing and all of those things. So already cutting their, let's say, jobs is detrimental to them. So the arguments can be two-sided. You can bring a very solid argument, to defend yourself against what the prime minister is saying right now. But, he also has an argument. There's nothing wrong with what he's saying, but there's a different argument on the other side. That's what I'm saying.
If you work in construction, if you work in the oil sector, you can also work in the hydrogen sector. You can work in the nuclear sector. You can work in the carbon capture, utilization, and storage. These are good, skilled jobs that Albertans are already doing that they will be able to do as long as we make sure the capital is flowing in those areas.
Are the capitals flowing now?
Real issues with real solutions that we're working on. And people like Pierre Poilievre would rather pick a fight with trans kids. That's not leadership.
But he wasn't picking a fight with trans kids. I think he was asked about the new Alberta policy, and he just said what he said. He wasn't picking a fight necessarily. He just gave his remarks. I'm not defending Pierre Poilievre, but also he's not here to defend himself. So I have to say.
And that's not a game I'm going to play with them. Yes, we're going to make sure we're doing everything we can to protect vulnerable people in this country, because that's what Canadians expect. But I'm not going to get dragged into culture wars about this when the fact is Canadians expect their governments to roll up their sleeves and deliver for them, and that's what we're doing.
I'll ask it again, sir. What can or what is your government doing to protect the rights?
I like the journalist. Yeah, because that was the original question. At the end of the video, I was going to say, how did we get here? Because he was asked, what is your government doing to protect the rights of these people? And then he went from Pierre Poilievre and politicians like him are fighting trans kids to carbon on, net zero investments, to providing capital, to providing family care. It's kind of like an advertisement. You took a question and then advertise your government and what they're doing, but didn't answer the question. So now you're going to have to answer it, sir. What is your government doing to protect the rights of trans kids? Since you absolutely hate what Pierre Poilievre said.
Trans kids now and in the future.
I was sitting down with a number of doctors from the Canadian Medical Association. I think one of the things we should all do in difficult issues is rely on experts, rely on science, on researchers, on people who actually work with vulnerable kids, people who sit down with families to talk through extremely difficult decisions.
So what did you come up with? And what is your government going to do?
Rely on them to depoliticize issues and look at what is in the best interest of Canadians, of communities, of individuals. Relying on our service and health professionals to make decisions about how to best protect people is, I think, something that this government will always stand for and highlight that more governments should be doing rather than picking fights with vulnerable people.
Yeah, I don't think our leader answered the question though. But particularly, I don't think Pierre Poilievre said anything wrong. And also, this is not against any single community. As a matter of fact, it's detrimental. We've seen what happened in America where trans people went to use the washroom and the parents of the kids were like, you can't be in this washroom, and we're fighting them, the trans kids. So what I've said in my previous video is you make a washroom for a man, a woman, and another one. I've seen people do that in washroom for men, male, females, and a trans washroom, something like that. Or you can just change all the washrooms to be like, single use for everybody. Other people are doing that too. But as far as Pierre Poilievre's remark, I don't think he said anything particularly wrong. I saw the clip on TikTok. And I also went through the gender policies on the new Alberta gender policy. I also didn't see anything wrong with that. But, it could just be my views. Maybe there's something I missed, or I'm just very conservative. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm conservative or liberal, but with my common sense, I just thought it was appropriate. If you don't think so, feel free to share with me, talk to me, but share your reasons. Don't just come fry me like some of you always do. Share your reasons why you think the policies were intense and why they should be reversed. Because I've seen people on the internet protesting against this. People are criticizing, critiquing, and hating on I think Danielle Smith is the name, if I'm not mistaken. People have been, frying her for those policies. In my opinion, I think she was spot on with those policies. The funny thing is, I think statistically it was shown, I had seen a video, not professional, but I saw the video on TikTok. But I've seen a video where it says over 50% of Canadians do agree with the new gender policy. So that would mean the majority agree with the Premier of Alberta. But the stats might also be wrong. That's why I'm saying consider everything in this video speculative. I mean, all my comments consider speculative. Do your own research and you might find something better. You know, you might find, or you might even know more than me. Feel free to educate me. If you're commenting, do not fry me. I mean, you can, but have your own points of views and facts so I can also learn from you. Anyways, this is the end of this one. Smash the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.